Extreme Anime Radio. Well, folks, it's that moment you've all been waiting for. The finale of the XAR podcast, season number 9. Welcome, everybody, to this end of June, June 26, 2024. A very interesting layout for us tonight. Nef is full of his Swiss pride with the UEFA Euros, and me, on the other hand, I am just, well, as you can see, it's the layout for this entire screen. Nef, I am one with the layout. Good evening to you.
I thought you were maybe cosplaying for the Hollywood Squares there for a minute. Okay, fine.
X gets the square, Nef, no.
Yeah.
I got the X, you have the plus. And okay, I froze.
No, that means I have the circle.
There you go. Apparently my camera doesn't like me if I go like this. Yeah, I wonder why it's freezing like that.
My guess is your camera has undocumented gesture controls, and what you just did caused it to think, oh, you want to take a screenshot or something, and we're just going to freeze everything.
I'm going to stop from flailing my arms wildly, you know, like a soccer fan. Thank you very much.
Or Kermit the Frog, whichever.
Oh, gee. But we have a lot going on as we close out season number 9. Of course, we thank everybody for supporting us for 9 seasons, and a good number of you have supported us way longer than that when we broadcasted music as Extreme Anime Radio. So we thank you however long you've supported us. Whether it's been many years, several seasons, or if you're just tuning in tonight, we thank you so much. XARpodcast.net if you want to download our podcasts. And also twitch.tv/Extreme Anime Radio and YouTube, Extreme Anime Radio Podcast, if you would like to see our faces and you would like to see my video glitch like it did just now. So various ways you can watch and listen to us, and we'll recap everything, of course, at the end of the show. But yes, Nef, the Euros going on to the knockout stage, and your team is leading off, it seems.
Yes, we lead off on Saturday afternoon at 12 p.m. Eastern against the Azzurri, the Italians, which will either be one of two things. A boring match that will probably go to penalties, where neither side can do anything, or the Azzurri, the Italians, will finally wake up and realize, yeah, we're in the knockout stage. No, we got to beat whoever's in front of us. And yeah, we're going to put some holes in you, Swiss. And it's not for the cheese.
So that's coming up on Saturday then, is it?
That's right. Saturday, 12 noon Eastern time. I will be ready. I said to someone else, I said, I normally don't drink at noon, but I may make an exception for this game, depending how it goes.
Well, Nef has to do something sports-wise now that a hockey season is officially done and through. The Edmonton Oilers, as we mentioned on the stream last night, they put up a valiant effort in the Stanley Cup, but they were just one goal short in the end.
Technically two, but yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. You could tell by around the third period that Edmonton was effectively running on fumes.
Mm.
By the halfway point of the third period, they were cooked. There was nothing left. They had given everything they possibly could, and Florida had just said, thank you very much. That cup is ours. It's staying here. It's not going back to Edmonton
Mm-hmm.
with you. You can get lost. The cup's staying here.
Well, now goes the postseason. Now, is there a draft for the NHL that's happening?
That is correct. The draft happens on Friday night.
Okay.
Which is very ironic considering the NBA draft is tonight. Of course, nobody remembers and nobody cares about. It's the NHL draft that everybody goes, oh, wow, because, yeah, it's 7 rounds. First round is Friday night, and then 2 through 7 go Saturday.
Well, there you have your choice then. You have us tonight. Tonight you can watch two guys talk nonsense for 90 minutes. You know what I'm talking about, Nef.
Well,
And then on Friday you have your choice between the NHL draft and Power Slap.
And then the unofficial holiday happens next Monday.
Oh, Canada Day, that's right.
No. That's the official holiday. The unofficial holiday, July 1st, NHL free agency opens.
Okay.
And both major sports networks in Canada will spend an inordinate amount of time. We're talking from 8 a.m. Monday morning till around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, talking about the signings that happen, the signings that don't, including the third line grinder who ends up taking a league minimum contract in Utah. And I had to do that because I almost said Arizona, but no, they're now in Utah.
Right.
Speaking of Arizona, not to put another shovel of dirt on that grave, but unfortunately I have to. Apparently, the owner of the trademark, Alex Moreno, has basically given up. He has said, nope, there's nothing I can do because the land auction that was supposed to happen, I think this week, has been canceled by Arizona in a final, screw you, get out of town, we don't want you here, from the Arizona governments to Alex and company.
Interesting.
No. Since Alex has given up, okay, in theory, if this is going to hold, it means that in a couple of years, some new carpetbaggers might come calling to Arizona and say, hey, we want to build an arena here. We want to have a hockey team here. Now, that outcome would actually benefit the NHL because they would treat it as a full expansion team. Which, given the last expansion team, what they paid, we're probably talking over $1 billion easily for an expansion team.
Right.
By the time Arizona 2.0 has any semblance of coming into being. So it's more like, okay, let's see if it happens, or let's just, let the dead desert dogs stay dead.
I've been reading a lot about arenas and sports stadiums in the news lately. What? Charlotte's gonna renovate? No, Carolina's gonna renovate their stadium. Jacksonville's gonna renovate their stadium.
The best part of the Charlotte deal, they're on the hook for 55% with no cap. In other words, from what I can tell, the projected cost is $1 billion something. But if there are any cost overruns because of the way it's divided, basically the taxpayer's on the hook for it too.
Wow.
And I'm going, what kind of a stupid deal did your governments make? And this is, again, I say this because the U.S. makes this big deal out of, we don't waste, taxpayers' money. But I'm going, you've literally given a blank check to a organization building, renovating a playpen. I don't get this. I don't get how you can say on the one hand, we're fiscally responsible, and on the other hand go, yeah,
Hmm.
but we'll give you this semi-blank check for this playpen that will be used 8 times a year, maybe nine.
Hmm.
At least for its intended purpose. It might be used for other things, but the intended purpose, of course, is NFL football.
And also recalls to me, the saga that's happening in Chicago with Soldier Field too.
Oh, okay. Again, I say this only because again, y'all keep saying we're fiscally responsible here. We're not going to waste taxpayers' money, and yet, and yet, and yet. Now, I say all this knowing full well
Uh-huh.
that we have a hockey team up here that is looking to build a new playpen and is trying to get the best deal they can for themselves.
Toronto?
No, that would be Ottawa. Toronto's
Ottawa,
not
okay.
crazy enough. Toronto's not crazy enough to try. They
Okay.
know better because they make too much money.
Right.
But Ottawa is saying because no, we need an arena,
Hmm.
closer to Ottawa because right now they're out in Canada,
Hmm.
which in theory is a 30-minute drive. The reality is on game nights, no, hour and a half. And then if the weather goes bad, yuck.
Hmm.
So
Oh.
yeah, they want to build downtown Ottawa, but of course there's fights over the land, there's fights over the costs, and it's just like,
Well, talking about arenas as we transit all the way to the land of the rising sun to talk about Japanese culture, I was reading today about another arena that's being built, that being in Japan. I believe it's going to be called the IG Arena. I think is what it's called. It's going to be based in Nagoya, a brand new modern venue. Going to seat 12,000. I mean, you're not going to have a big, indoor arena like, many other places. But 12,000 seats indoors, and it's going to be finished next year. And the first big event that's going to happen there is the Nagoya Grand Sumo Tournament. This year's Nagoya Grand Sumo Tournament, they're going to release the rankings this weekend, and it's going to be the last one that they hold in what's called now the Dolphins Arena, which is this decades-old building. And, if you're sumo fans like me and also Bria as well, you can see some of the scenes in there. A lot of people, very warm clothing, or cool clothing, if you will, fanning themselves off and everything, trying to stay cool, and the building going under so many issues. So now it's been confirmed that the sumo tournament in Nagoya will leave that arena after this year and go into the new arena, which is going to have even a bigger capacity than Ryogoku Kokugikan, which is the arena in Tokyo where sumo is held 3 times a year that Brie and I visited January of 2023. So more modern facility for sumo wrestling.
I'm just curious because when you said IG Arena, I'm going, wait a minute, that can't be because there is a company in Canada called Investors Group, a financial planning group, that has naming rights to a stadium in Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg. And I'm going, there's no way it's the same company. There's no way that they would be naming a venue, in Japan. No. But it
Let's
was
see
funny. And
here.
then you mentioned like it's the current one is Dolphins Stadium. I'm just going, wait a minute. You don't mean the Florida Antichrists, right?
Mm-hmm.
The NFL. It's like, as a Buffalo Bills fan, I hear Miami Dolphins and I immediately, or Dolphins anyway, and immediately just cringe and go, yeah.
IG Group, a leader in online trading and investments.
The same. Oh boy, that's hilarious. Because, and I'm gonna pull this up just to prove it because like I said, it is bananas. I'm going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's see. IG Field. IG Field seating chart. Yeah, IG Field is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers stadium. That's the name of that stadium.
Okay.
That's why I went, wait a minute.
So, yes, actually, according to this press release, is going to be 17,000, but I think for sumo it might be 12,000 because they need. You're not going to have seats around the sumo ring. You're going to have the boxes that you would find in all the other places. Boxes where groups of 2 or 3 or 4 can just sit on the floor. And I'm gesturing again. Look at that! I froze up again.
Yes,
I gotta keep my hands. I gotta keep my hands on the table, Neff.
Well, I was going to say, apparently his camera has, some sort of undocumented gesture control where if he makes a magic gesture, everything goes.
Or it could be the fact that I have for the first time, I actually have a video running in the background of me now, and instead of a clip, still image.
Well, maybe you're running into a resource problem, perhaps.
Could be, yeah. Although according to this, I'm using 0.2% of CPU, and probably I don't know how many percent of video RAM, which I don't really want to check right now.
Well, I was going to say, it's not the CPU you got to worry about, it's the GPU.
Exactly.
When the GPU gets nailed, that's when you get nailed.
I think the next big upgrade for me might be one of those 12 gigabyte VRAM cards.
Okay, you just spent a pretty penny on something else, which we won't discuss necessarily. You'd be spending about the same on that, okay? Just to warn you.
And I'll be spending stuff. I'll be spending on other things later on in the year, and you know what I'm talking about too.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. All I can say is I'm just glad I, kept poking and prodding a certain organization about a rebate I was supposed to be getting, and they've assured me that yes, the check is in the mail.
Uh-huh.
It went out, after on the 21st of June, so you should see it in about a week or so. And I'm like, okay, fine. It only took me, let's see, end of March, April, May, June, yeah, like 3 months when it was supposed to be like 6 to 8 weeks. I'm going a month behind. Okay, not horrible, but still, ick.
Yep. Yeah, I've got my big expense has been with my car. Good old compressor died. I'm not ashamed to talk about that. And I decided to pay it out of pocket. The guys that I go to over here do a very good job. I had the option though, and I looked on the paperwork from when I bought my car. It appears that the part I needed replaced could have been covered under the extended warranty I bought with the car. Okay. But there are a few caveats to that. Number one, you have to go to a dealership associated with the make of the car. In my case, Subaru. I'd have to go to a Subaru dealer to get the car replaced instead of the mechanics that I normally go to. That's number one. Number two, I have to make appointment at said Subaru dealer. They didn't have anything open until next week. And in less than 2 weeks, I go away for my summer sojourn. Number three, they have to do a diagnosis to verify. Oh, it didn't freeze this time. How about that? They have to do a diagnosis to verify that the part that I needed replaced would be covered under the warranty. So given those drawbacks and the fact that I have to go up soon, I mean, if I wasn't going up soon, I'd probably take my chances at the dealer. But no, I ended up decided staying at the mechanic. I had it picked it up today, and actually the guy gave me a little break on the labor costs, which wasn't too bad. So a lot less than what I was anticipating to pay, but still quite a big expense nonetheless.
Yeah, unfortunately, we as a society are so used to air conditioning now that when it doesn't work, we die.
Yeah.
Quite literally in some cases.
Take last week's heat wave and almost heat wave over here, for example.
I was going to say, you can have last week. I don't want it. No, no. And oddly enough, however, the temperature now is bottoming out here. Tomorrow, the high is going to be 70, and the low is going to be 54.
Oh, boy.
We're talking the end of June here, folks. The weather has gone bananas.
I'd come up for sure, yeah.
Well, yeah, you'd be nice and comfy in this weather, I can tell you right now.
What is it going to be around here? Well, right now, as we're recording this, we're under thunderstorm watch. Oh, we're under a thunderstorm warning now. Okay, that's nice. Until 9:15.
Well, we already had the lights and the thunder this afternoon at the office. It was a beautiful day to start. We're talking sunny, not a cloud in the sky. By noon, complete cloud cover. By 2 o'clock, the skies opened up, and there was enough lightning and thunder to make me go, I hope they're backing up our data, because we might just lose something right about now.
So probably by the time we finish the show, or time we're scheduled to finish the show, is when these storms are going to pass through in my location, so.
I apologize if they're coming from us. We didn't mean to do it, but it just sort of happened that way.
It's all good. Well, so before anything bad happens, let's go through some of the anime news that we have on tap. In the last podcast, Nef, did we talk about the Sailor Moon anime?
I don't think so. I don't think there was anything new at that point that you mentioned. Right,
because I think it might have been announced the last time we did the podcast, but 2 weeks ago, most of it I know we're talking about recap of Anime North, so maybe it's something we missed. So in case we did miss it, yes, it was announced earlier this month. The end of the Sailor Moon saga, the Sailor Moon Cosmos movie, which had already been released in Japan, will get a release on Netflix at the end of August. So, if you are interested in finishing out, what an amazing job, by the way, that they did with the movie a few years back. So now the whole telling of the story, which I believe still keeps it from a manga storytelling point of view, comes into full circle here.
Very interesting. I mean, I know there are a couple of things coming on Netflix on August 1st where I'm like going, okay, this might be a reason why I actually fire up Netflix, more than just for 5 seconds and go, not today.
Oh, and Mika's so stoked for this. Hello, Mika. They are so excited about this as I am. So something I don't know if I'm going to watch it when it comes out or wait until I come back so I can watch it on the better TV that sits in my house.
Well, you see, that's the problem. I mean, all these things, and you're like going, yeah, I can watch it on, whatever screen but then I have a nice setup at home, and you're like going,
Yeah. So, Sailor Moon Cosmos, and the release date specifically is going to be August 22nd, the day before my father's birthday. How about that? So, there's a little bit of, they have some artwork, and you can see some of the characters that are going to be unveiled and some of the art that they released. And I'm sure, based on how recent Sailor Moon shows have gone in recent years, as we mentioned before, it was a great relief that they returned to the more traditional Sailor Moon anime style when they did the last movie, and I believe the end of the Crystal series too.
Yeah, because their experiments at the beginning of Crystal were just No. When Sailor Mars turns into an art project, you're going, okay, that art director is fired. Into the sun.
But, well, speaking of money, Nef, me spending money on the car and me spending money on other things and actually just paying a big bill off from my first trip up north to upstate New York earlier this month. There could be something that possibly I would spend more money on if I did this. And you know what that might be?
No, but you have me intrigued.
No? Okay, so the answer is nay. Uma Musume Pretty Derby.
I thought you were going to say you were buying a horse, in which case I would say you're filling your oats, aren't you?
Uma Musume, and this is another topic that we've talked about because I tried playing the Japanese game on one of those Android emulators, and that was it sort of worked for a while, but now there are plans right now to make an English release on both iPhone and Android on a date to be determined. There's a website up, and I believe there's an opening song for this as well. Free to play, just like the other game, but
I was going to say, free to play, yes. Microtransactions, also yes.
Yes.
Because it's one of those things where they've learned. All they have to do is lay out the breadcrumbs, and we all come wandering.
So yes, it's going to be like a casino here. Never spend more money I can afford to lose, or something like that. Because it's all a gotcha game, basically.
I was going to say, spend the money knowing you're never getting it back, and you're not getting real value for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it.
So, if anybody plays freemium games watching us and are in the chat tonight, let us know, some of the games you play and how much you have wanted to spend maybe in about a month's time on one of those games, and how much you actually spent. I'd be curious. Now, Nef did something like that with the Looney Tunes, right? Was something similar?
Yeah, for a while, but then I realized it was getting so repetitive. I've now fallen into a different game. DC Heroes and Villains.
Oh.
Where you start off with literally a gotcha assortment of heroes and villains that you level up, etc., so they're more powerful, while you do the standard matching thing to, progress through the story that they've given you.
Right.
And it gets to the point where you're like, okay, I'm getting bored, and it must sense that, because then they throw in a new character that they allow, suddenly pops up, and you're like, oh, I want to level up that character. So I'm going, okay. And because I'm a Green Lantern nerd, and I fully admit that, they gave me Sinestro, who's a 5-star character, although I hate the character as, a character. I'm going, he's 5-star. That means he's going to kick butt, chew bubble gum, and he's all out of gum. And then a little while later, along comes John Stewart, but he's only a 4-star. So I'm like, okay, I'll start with you, but I really want to push, Sinestro, the 5-star, because of course, when he, the entire field goes, oh crap, we're in trouble.
But yeah, I forget there's a Jon Stewart character there, not like the Jon Stewart most of us know.
Yeah, this is a much different Jon Stewart, from the early 70s, and it's like he's endured this long, and it's really weird because he goes through phases where they use him well, then they forget he exists, then they use him well, then they forget he exists, and it's like, huh? The lack of consistency is disturbing.
Yeah, but let's see. I'm getting the warnings now on my Apple Watch about the weather coming through.
When your watch starts warning you, that's when you start looking outside going, okay, is it time to duck now?
Yeah. Let's see. How about this? Because we also alluded to this on yesterday's stream when we started singing Baka 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 Ba.
Ah, yes. Ranma 1/2 is getting a remake.
And it is a remake now, not a continuation.
And there is a part of me going, there's a lot of stuff from the original series that they can't do now, or they are going to fry for it. But I want to see them try. I want to see them try, and not, and see what happens. Whether everybody goes, yeah.
How long did the Ranma 1/2 show originally go for? How many episodes?
I want to say at least 100 around. And then
Yeah.
there were the OVAs in the movies,
Yeah.
because that one really, stuck around. And that was one of the first ones I recall that Ocean Studio did. Ocean
Mm.
Studio being the dubbing studio in Canada.
I see.
So you had, all these familiar voices that would later go on to other things
Mm-hmm.
as, the 90s progressed into the aughts. And you're
Mm-hmm.
going, wait a minute, I recognize that character from Ranma One Half and that character from Ranma One Half when you're talking about Gundam Wing or Inuyasha, and you're going,
I've I'm looking at what Liz said. Oh, she it was a typo. She wrote 1,612 episodes. No, it's
whoa,
161 according to Liz. According to this release I'm reading, it's 143 and movies. So that's probably includes the movies then, and the OVAs that were released as well. But yeah, there's going to be more information. There's no release date, but they're supposed to have like a news conference next month to announce more information.
as I said, it's going to be interesting because this is taking something that was from a very different time
Mm,
and bringing it into more modern times. I mean,
mm-hmm.
yes, Salem and Crystal did the same thing, but not the same way, because there wasn't really that whole thing subtext of stuff in Round One Half where you're going,
Right,
that's not going to fly today. You know, I mean, I'm thinking of Akane, using the mallet, and poor Ranma, yes, he's a jerk. Yes,
right.
he sometimes deserves it, but yeah, you can't keep using him as your pinata and your stress relief toy, Akane.
Mm.
No, no, no.
Okay, so it was right. Beta was right. There was one. The first season, if you will, was 18 episodes, and then they released Ranma One Half Netohen, which is 143, and that pretty much picked up about a month after the first series ended.
Okay, and Beta's also reminding us of Haposai,
Hmm.
who had a problem of wandering hands. In modern times, those hands will now be, severely chopped off and left, into the frying pan.
Yeah. So a lot of these reboots are kind of the same way. You expect some things are going to happen. Sailor Moon for one. Urusei Yatsura for one as well. So
That's I keep meaning to watch Urusei Yatsura on HiDive, but it's been like, okay, other stuff's come through, and
yeah.
I've really got to buckle down. And I think maybe on Canada Day, I will at least give an attempt. After I'm sick and tired of hearing about the third line winger for, the LA Kings getting scads of money that I will never see in my entire life,
Mhm.
I'll say, okay, fine. Let me throw in a couple of episodes of Urusei Yatsura to cleanse out my brain.
Now there were a few new dubs coming out on HiDive that I know that you wanted to talk about. One series in particular.
Yes, Chain Soldier is getting a dub. Now, if you've read the manga, you know what that's like. Now, I will say this: the anime does not do the battle scenes justice that the manga had. But what the anime does do is turn up the ecchi factor, including one particular character where I'm going, I don't know how they're going to translate her and not make it seem creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Because she has a thing for the male MC that's slightly unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
and slightly, if the gender roles were reversed, everybody would be going dot, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be curious to see how this goes. Now, that dub starts, I believe, at the end of July, and it was a 12 episode series, so it'll take us into October thereabouts. But I'll be curious because, of course, Chain Soldier did get a second season as well.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's not coming out till 25, I think. So there'll be some gap. But I'm just going, I mean, there are some other series that HiDive has grabbed that
Mm-hmm.
may be interesting. One of them is, let's see, 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, which I've read the manga. And I want to say it's essentially No, my brain's lost, but it's marbles. It's essentially okay, help me, JR. Marin, Gojo-chan. What series is that? My brain. The cosplay series. My brain.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah.
yeah. You know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I can't remember the title of the bleeping anime, which is driving me nuts, or the manga. But anyways, the point being, it's a slightly, a lot more dirty
My dress up darling?
Yes, thank you. It is a less clean version of My Dress Up Darling.
Oh, no.
The best part is that the female MC bears a striking resemblance to a particular character in Fate Grand Order. And it's like, that's deliberate. There's no way you do this and do this character design and not make this a backhanded homage to that character. I'm talking about Mash Kyrielite, everybody's favorite purple eggplant. But it's like, I see this character in 2.5 dimensional seduction, and I'm going, okay, whoa. Okay, not quite IP theft, intellectual property theft, but pretty close.
Something like that reminds me of oh boy. Now it's another series that what is it?
Well, there's another series that's going to be interesting because
Excel Saga. Where
God.
No, that's the first thing when you talk about that comes to my head. Oh, they're making references to other things.
Yes, well, Excel Saga is notorious for that.
Yeah.
Also notorious for costing the original female VA her voice for a time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of the screaming and the other, high-pitched voice that this character had while they were freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's another series I'm curious to see how this goes. Now, this isn't a dub yet, but Plus Size Elf, or Elf-san wa Yasaranai. Basically, an elf comes to our world and has a small problem. She has a prodigious appetite for the foods of the human world. And of course, when you pack on the calories, you pack on the calories. So she now has to try and get rid of those calories. So imagine the comedy of that. It's like, oh dear, that one's going to be, oh dear. So, and it's funny because I look at Crunchyroll, what they have coming in the summer, I'm going, there's really nothing there that makes me go, might want to watch that. I mean, there are some dubs I'm finishing up. Chilling in another world with level 2 super cheat powers is quite interesting because they are following the manga / light novels pretty good.
All right.
And yet I'm going, okay, this is going a little bit goofier than I would have thought given the original source material, but okay, fine, it is anime.
There's we're talking about the one that Bree and I have been watching lately, but that name escapes me, Bree. You're gonna have to remind me what the title that was. It's a yokai anime. So
a yokai anime. That sounds interesting.
I would I could look it up, but I don't have Crunchyroll on the setup here. It's in the living room.
Yeah, I'm just checking actually Crunchyroll summer lineup out of curiosity because I think, would help if I could spell. There we go. Yeah, because I was looking at it and I'm going, let me see here. Now they've updated it, so maybe there's some more. Let's see. Okay, Tower of God Season 2, My Hero Academia Season 7. Okay, now I know the manga is ending soon. They actually announced that My Hero Academia manga is ending, I think, in the next 5 chapters or something like that.
Okay.
And I'm going, finally. And then, let's see. That time I got reincarnated as a slime Season 3. And the best part is, their sub is 8:30 in the morning. The dub is 2:30 that afternoon. Ooh, that's cutting it close.
Interesting.
Yes, a Montagari series, often monster season. Senpai is an otokonoko? Okay. And let's see, a journey through another world, raising kids while adventuring. Okay, now that sounds interesting. Trying to raise children while adventuring in another world. Oh, there was the other one. Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. That one's interesting because I read a little bit of manga. Basically, it's this character where when she gets embarrassed or flustered, she literally starts speaking Russian. Except the male MC, unbeknownst to her, knows Russian.
Okay.
So that could be very interesting. Like, wait a minute.
Bree just told me Tonari no Yokai-san is the name of the show. And it's an anime that was released. It's in progress right now. And it began in April. And it's basically set on a... and I want to say a Japanese village will be the best description. A Japanese village in an alternate reality where humans get together with yokai. So you have yokai living with each other, going to school together, and that sort of thing. And they still fulfill their duties as yokai. And some characters who are humans or animals or something like that can also be reborn as yokai. Like one of the main characters in there that has a cat that was reborn with two tails.
Okay, now I'm going to only point out this one more series because the premise is insane. Quality assurance in another world. A quality assurance debugger saves a girl from a dragon, sparking her curiosity. Together they seek the world's true nature. Huh? What? Okay, it's not quite the level of the vending machine that wanders the dungeon, but okay, fine. Yikes.
Let's see here. I'm looking here. Yeah, I think I can start hearing the rain outside, so it's probably gonna blow through. Hopefully it blows through quick. So
quick without leaving any sort of problems in its wake.
Now, I do need time, Nef, for you to set up because we're going to be doing, hopefully, if nothing happens here on this end, we're going to do Mario Kart tonight to celebrate the end.
The good news is I'm almost set up. All I have to do is pull the battery off the charger, plug it in, and change the TV over from what it's broadcasting right now, which is the Euros.
Okay.
I said I would get ready beforehand because I knew that attaching the steering wheel to the table is a bit of a lost art for me because I keep forgetting which way to turn the knob to tighten everything up. And invariably, I did it the opposite way today, and of course, all the parts fall off in my hand, and I'm like, "Oh, that's right, wrong way, other way."
Well, so we're gonna set up for that here in a moment. But Nef, yeah, we talked about a lot. We ran through several topics tonight of interest to at least both of us, but hopefully to all of you guys watching and listening as well. We've made it to the end of another season, season 9.
Number 9.
Number nine.
I was wondering if you were gonna get that reference.
Abbey Road.
Uh-huh.
Yep. A Beatles reference from Abbey Road when they recorded some of their albums there.
Yep. So a little bit of musical history for you folks.
But yeah, another wonderful job, another wonderful season, which we will probably resume these podcasts. The way things are looking right now, the end of September or the second half of September might be when we resume these podcasts. we might do an informal show or two during the summer, and then of course I will bring the cooling system for my laptop to the fans that go under the laptop to keep it cool, so we don't have any glitches like we did in the weeks that I was upstate.
Yeah, the problem with laptops is they're great portable things, but the more powerful they are,
Mm-hmm.
you need better fans.
Yeah.
And if you don't have them, you're going to find out why.
Yeah. Definitely it's going to be packed in here, but Nef, anything you'd like to say as we commemorate Season 9?
Well, once again, thank you all, folks, for tuning in, whether you've tuned in for all 9 seasons or you've just joined us tonight. You're all, part of why we do this. In fact, you're the reason why we do this. And, my shenanigans and JR being the, brunt of my jokes is all, designed to be, fully entertaining, while we try to entertain and educate and just have a little bit of fun with you and with each other.
Wow, we're getting plastered outside with the rain, so
I was gonna say you're getting plastered with emojis on the screen, so I'm going.
Yeah, I see that too. Thank you, Beta, for the dogs. So yeah, we thank you guys for continuing to support what we do. I want to give a special shout out to people involved in our streams on a regular basis. Those being Bree, those being Liz, those being Karam as well. People who tune in frequently, such as Caldeth and Beta and Flax. All of our supporters. Mika Zeldo's in the room tonight. They've been supporting us for about as long as I've been around with Extreme Anime Radio. Long time, and this heavy rain's kind of reminding of last time I visited Mika. It was about a year ago, and remember I got grounded in Virginia for one extra day because of the bad weather that blew through.
It sounds like the weather I had when I was leaving the last time I came out your direction, and we had to wait on the tarmac for a while before we could take off, and that takeoff wasn't fun.
Yeah.
That was one of those where it was like, there's a reason there's a seatbelt, and there's a reason you cinch it tight. Because if you didn't, you and the bulkhead would have a meeting. Remind.
Well, folks, let me go ahead and we do the closing commentary now before, lightning sort of strikes here and ruins our moment.
If you have any questions, concerns, compliments, or complaints about this podcast or any of our Twitch streams, drop us a line at extremeanimeradio@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. Go to linktree.com/anime radio. There you'll find our Facebook account, our X account, our Instagram account, our Discord server, our Twitch streams, and our YouTube channel at Extreme Anime Radio. And archive versions of this podcast are available at xarpodcast.net. That's xarpodcast.net, or your favorite podcasting platform.
And don't forget the new home for Sarah and Yumemi on Instagram is XAR Mascot. So be sure to follow that if you haven't already. We're going to have some more content coming there soon, including possibly a big project coming in the weeks and months ahead. Once I know what's going on with that, we will give you some more details on maybe one of the streams we do during the summer. After I move up for the summer, we'll probably resume Ace Attorney. Next week, we'll probably have a few streams going on. We don't know if it's going to be Ace Attorney. Maybe I'll break out Flight Simulator, see if I can get that out of the way for one stream, and hopefully it goes according to plan and nothing crashes with the stream, I mean. So...
Well, I mean, you don't want the plane to crash either. That's
no.
You know, plane fly, not go boom.
Earlier this week, I purchased the brand new flight simulator plane. That was the PMDG 777. And it sold for $77.73. But PMDG, known for their high fidelity, high quality simulations of planes, they released for Flight Simulator a DC-6. They released for Flight Simulator 4 variants of the 737, and now they're going to release several variants of the 777, starting with the 777-300ER. I've already flown it on 2 short flights, and I am blown away with how easy it is to fly the plane. Very, very impressed. It handles so smoothly. The audio is so great. So maybe if I do Flight Simulator, I might be leaning to doing a flight in a plane like that, although probably, too soon to be released. It might not have the, the XAR livery that we're accustomed to, but at least we can maybe give it a shot somehow.
You mentioned a price, and I was going, was that the price for one plane?
Yeah.
Okay, $80 US for one plane.
But you know why it's $77.73, yeah?
Okay, but still, one plane. Okay, this is from a guy who was annoyed with the wireless charging in his car because the phone would invariably bounce and fall off the charger.
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and bought for $150 Canadian a pad that sits on top of the wireless charger that has a MagSafe connector on it. So I put the phone on it. It don't bounce, but it charges wirelessly. But that was $150 to fix a problem that frankly should not exist, but for the fact that the manufacturer of this car decided, oh, you don't need to worry about the phone. It'll stay put.
I have to maybe look into. I finally want to try to get a wireless charger at least for the home, because I have this now, the 15 Pro Max, doing wonders.
I can give you several recommendations and several. Don't bother, you'll drive yourself crazy.
Well then, yeah, we're gonna have a an audio chat, hopefully after Mario Kart. So maybe you can help me with that, and if you could.
Not a problem. More than happy to help. Others avoid my mistakes.
Well, folks, this has been season 9 of the XAR podcast. Once again, this week this is our last stream. Well, the Mario Kart stream coming up will be our last stream. Now, as far as Twitch goes, next week we'll have stuff to be announced. When I move up in a couple of weeks, we'll continue Ace Attorney. We have a deadline because once again, there's a new Ace Attorney coming out in September, or a remake, that is. And then that thunder for about 15 seconds long thunder. Something bad's going through, so I better make this quick.
I was going to say your nice car is, at least if it gets struck by lightning, it is insulated by its 4 rubber tires.
It is sitting between trees outside, so I know I'm in good shape. No, parked in between 2 trees, so if it falls, I'll be okay.
Well, you hope that the trees will knock each other out of the way of your car.
But anywho, so the podcast will return second half of September. That's what we're thinking. Twitch streams are going to resume with probably 1 or 2 streams next week. And then I move up and we'll continue Ace Attorney. So for the podcast, as far as the podcast is concerned, thank you for your support for season 9. And until we see you in season 10, for Nef, I'm JR. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. And remember,
keep on looking out for the Extreme Mario Twitch streams. And don't forget, archive versions of these podcasts are available at xarpodcast.net. That's xarpodcast.net, or your favorite podcasting platform. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you for season 10.
Hey, look, I survived. So did all of you. See you for season 10, folks. Good night.